This current administration is doing nothing but walking into gun stores, mom and pop gun stores, going after the simple little small minor paperwork errors that people are making and trying to shut those gun stores down permanently who've been in existence for decades. And what we're doing is by bringing this lawsuit, we're saying, you know what, you need to stop that. What Congress says this is what you're supposed to do. There are a set of laws there and they should follow those laws, not step outside those boundaries. And so we're trying to put them back in those boundaries and say this is enough. It's impossible for anyone to do what we do and not make any mistakes at all. You get people that walk into the gun store to fill out a 4473, which is the firearms transaction record. There's 100 ways a person can mess up this form, if not more than that. There are 100 different inputs that you actually put on the form. Even customers make mistakes when it comes to their name, their middle name or their first name. They reverse it. On that little box that says county, they put country. That does not mean that that person is going to get handed a firearm and they're not supposed to. They're not a prohibited person. And so their license should not get revoked just for that simple little minor mistake. I'm actually getting phone calls from gun stores all around the country, as far as like Oregon, as close as Houston. You're talking mom and pop gun stores. Grandparents, great-grandparents have owned this store, and all of a sudden now, ATF comes in and inspect them, find a little paperwork error. Maybe they've made the same type of error because they didn't catch it themselves, and they're wanting to shut them down. And this is the only way that I can help them is by filing a lawsuit, kind of being on the offensive instead of the defensive. I think we're assisting all the gun stores in the country in getting the ATF back into the box it need to be put back into. I'm so grateful that I was able to sit down and talk with TPPF. This organization is the one organization that I thought would actually stand up for Texans and stand up for all Americans in the United States and fight the federal government when they're overstepping their bounds.
Your business is going to have technical problems. There's no question about it. Pacific Office Automation is your guide because problem solving is our passion. Every business is unique, no matter how big or how small the problem. From copiers and printers, telephone systems, managed IT, print services, and more, we offer integrated, streamlined office solutions to keep your office humming. With Pacific Office Automation, it's problem solved. Visit pacificoffice.com today to find out more.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, "I invoke my right to remain silent," and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings, because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs, but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights, and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent and my right to my attorney. Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Good day, Austin, Texas, live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Today, we're going to talk about the ATF. They're doing a lot around the country. They're doing a lot with the Tommy-built tactical Model T-36 receiver. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about the fact that they finally finished our inspection, our audit at Central Texas Gunworks. And just so you know, the podcast is coming to you. We are recording now from Central Texas Gunworks. We're actually recording the show every week now from Central Texas Gunworks. So we're coming to you from our headquarters. So definitely welcome. The ATF finally finished our inspection. The inspection, the actual physical inspection probably lasted a little over a week, a little more than 5 days, probably like 6 or 7 days. But they took an entire month to actually tell us the results of the inspection and to sit down with us. It was time consuming. That was a lot of resources that we had to waste and spend. Had to have attorneys on call, attorneys here present, a couple times while the ATF was here conducting their inspections. So it was actually pretty, I call it stressful time there, getting through this inspection. It was a surprise inspection, and the reason I wouldn't say unexpected. I expect the ATF to actually walk to the gun store any given time to conduct an inspection. But the weird thing about this one was the fact that we actually have a lawsuit against the ATF for walking into gun stores and actually trying to shut down gun stores. And being that we have that lawsuit, them walking into the gun store here in Central Texas Gun Works, it's almost like they're deposing me, doing a deposition on the case. And that's where the problem lies. So we had to file paperwork with the court to notify the court that the ATF walked in without notifying my attorneys. And the ATF responded to that and said, oops, our bad. We didn't, the left didn't know what the right was doing. We didn't mean to do that. So, oops, sorry. And so they continue on with their inspection. We, did outstanding. There are small little errors, that customers made, but there are no errors that would have actually, a person would have transferred a firearm illegally. We would have transferred a firearm to someone illegally. So nothing like that actually happened. So therefore, there's no reason for them to even attempt to try to revoke our license or anything like that. But as a backup, what I did do, there's something I started working on last year. Once we filed this lawsuit, it came to me that, what happens if they do, for some strange reason, try to shut down, my FFL, my federal firearms license, or revoke my license. So I put in an application for a backup FFL. And so that backup FFL was a type 07 license, has been approved by the ATF. And so we're waiting to get the actual license in the mail, but it's been approved and everything. I have the FFL number and all that good kind of stuff. So we're going to have a backup FFL. And what we're going to do is going to move we're going to try to get some of the NFA items, some of those things moved to the other FFL and stuff like that, so we can work off of either one or two FFLs or have a backup or whatever. So just in case something happens, we can go from one to the other. So I think that'll help us out a lot going forward, with any issues we possibly could have with the ATF or any other agency that's out there. This inspection, and the things that the ATF did when they walked into the door concerned me, and I can see why some other dealers are having problems around the country, because what they did was they used, everything in their power to check, all between the lines, all the spaces and everything. They use agencies like the Texas Department of Public Safety. They use the Texas Comptroller. They went through all different agencies to actually make sure that we had dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's. And so that actually really concerned me, that they used everything that they possibly could to try to find a way, to revoke our license. And so, we were definitely on guard 100%. And man, that really concerned me. I don't, any business, you run a business and you have an agency that walks in to inspect you. If they want to try to find something wrong, you definitely can find something wrong with just about every business in this country. And so, and my hat's off to other federal firearms licensed dealers that are out there that are having to go through this, because it's a very stressful job. It's one, that we know what we're doing. We're not trying to hand guns over to people that are not supposed to have them. We're trying to run a business and do the right thing and be responsible citizens as well. But this really, really concerned me and how it all played out and how it all went down. So I can definitely see how some FFLs out there are actually losing their license, getting their license revoked, and why, under this current administration, the Biden administration, why the revocations are up 500%. I can definitely see why. I want to change gears a little bit and talk about the Tommy Built Tactical T36 receivers. It has come to my attention that the Tommy Built Tactical T36 receivers are now considered machine guns by the ATF. And so they have actually been banned. And I guess basically what happened was the Tommy Built, produced these T36 receivers. They put them out there, and they hadn't gotten the okay from the ATF, the review from the ATF yet, and they started selling the T-36 receivers. So people purchased the T-36 receivers, took them home, whatever. I don't know if you made it. Maybe you made it into an SBR. Maybe you turned it into something else. But what happened was the ATF then came back right around, I guess, 2020, 2021, and said they're now considered machine guns once they came around to actually reviewing them. So if you're in possession one of the Tommy built tactical Model T-36 receivers, you're in possession of a machine gun. And if you're in possession of this, your option is to destroy the Tommy built tactical Model T-36 receiver, or turn it into the ATF, or send it back to the manufacturer where they can give you a TG-36, a version of it that's not considered a machine gun. So those are your options. The problem with all this stuff is what if you turned this into an SBR? You've added to the NFA system. They're not going to waive anything as far as the cost that you've had to endure in doing this. And what they actually say in their write-up, they say, unfortunately, there's no provision in the law to refund an NFA fee once a firearm is registered. And ATF exploring whether the tax you paid to register the original firearm as an SBR can be applied to the new firearm created by the replacement of the original machine gun receiver. ATF does not have the statutory authority to make the decision on its own. And ATF will post additional information about potential tax forbearance on the registration of a replacement. And so what you're going to have to do basically is, if you've turned one of these into an SBR, you're going to have to request to remove it from the NFA list. And then you're going to have to send that portion of it, break it down, send that portion back into the manufacturer and get another version, and then request your another SBR application request into the ATF and get that approved. And this is crazy, Zach.
Yeah, so the T-36 is actually a clone of the HK G-36,
okay,
which is this awesome rifle. It shoots 5.56, and it is standard issue, or it was, for the German army. It's not a full auto, this T-36, but the ATF is saying that it's too easily convertible if you put in an auto sear. So I mean,
so we're talking about, what is this? What's that movie called when you predict something that could have possibly happen?
Minority Report.
The Minority Report.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't shoot full auto; it's semi-auto.
But you could sort of, kind of.
Yeah, if you find this highly illegal auto sear, then you can put it in there and make it into a full auto.
Yeah. And machine guns manufactured after May 19, 1986 may not be possessed by private individuals as set forth in the 18 U.S.C.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yep, they got to be pre-1986.
Right.
They're out there, but yeah, you got to go through the ATF for one of those.
Yeah. And so And someone actually asked the question to the ATF, is to say, hey, is my only option to return the firearm to Tommy Built Tactical and pay for the upgrade? No, that's not your only option. You can return it to them, pay for the upgrade, or you can destroy the Tommy Built Tactical, or you can turn it into the ATF yourself.
You can destroy your $2,500 rifle.
Right. And they're actually going door to door and confiscating them. Yes, because I actually received a letter myself, an email from the ATF Baltimore office, where they're looking for a couple of these that some customers of mine have actually purchased. And so that's scary.
So they'll go door to door and collect these.
Mm-hmm. They will go to either your house, they'll go to your house or your home, and collect.
Yeah,
these.
wherever they feel like the gun might be, they'll go there. But all these kids in Chicago are posting videos with Glock switches shooting full auto that were purchased from China, definitely not registered.
And what's sad is
they're not going to do anything about that.
And people don't even know. People don't even know this. I didn't even know about this. This is since 2021. I had no idea. This just came across my desk this week.
Just because the ATF was trying to find somebody you sold one to, right?
Right. Yeah. And so I had no clue, no idea whatsoever until I came across this email, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
So how would the ATF have to have gotten the information to know that Tommy Built Tactical transferred it through you? So they had to get it from Tommy Built Tactical themselves.
That is correct.
They had to get their records, their sales records, and see who they
not the sales
sent
records.
the gun to.
Not the sales records. You just go into their A&D book. So you go into the A&D book and say, hey, Tommy Built, who'd you sell these 1,000 items to, or 2,000, 5,000, whatever items to? And they're going to be transferred to either another dealer or maybe a distributor. And then they go to that distributor or that dealer and say, hey, who'd you transfer it to? Like they sent a letter to me and say, hey, according to our records and according to the A&D book from, and it actually says this, you're receiving this email because you received Tommy Built Tactical T-36 receivers, which have been classified by ATF as a machine gun receiver. Records obtained from Tommy Built Tactical LLC shows a disposition to you in their acquisition and disposition record, their A&D book. And ATF Baltimore Field Division is requesting disposition information for the following.
So the ATF would then be able to just charge this guy for possession of a machine gun, take him to jail for 10 years.
I hope that's not what they're doing.
But they have the ability to do that because of what this guy owns, right?
Yeah, technically, yes.
Oh, that's messed
Absolutely
up.
correct. Yeah, and didn't even know. So
that's what they're trying to do with pistol braces.
Yeah.
Something that was never legislated into law.
And thanks to the ruling that came down by the Fifth Circuit on the 2-1 ruling.
Yeah, just the other day
that came down this week, saying, "Hey, whoa, hold on, ATF, no," and they sent the case back down to the lower court, and so we'll see what the judge says on the lower court side, if he's going to just wipe it all out across the entire country. Say, hey, no, pistol braces are not illegal.
So if you're going to explain this to people, they kicked it down to the lower court. Correct. So a lower court already decided in favor of the ATF?
I don't know.
Or what happened there?
I'm not sure.
They kick it back down. Didn't that mean that
someone appealed? So someone appealed to the Fifth Circuit. I'm not sure what the lower court ruling was initially.
It must have been not in favor of the gun owners, right?
Well, no, not necessarily, because either side can appeal. So let's say, for example, the judge in the lower court, I don't know, we have to Google it and pull it up. I don't know if you can Google it or something. If the lower court could have ruled in favor of the gun owner, and then the ATF appealed to the Fifth Circuit. Or the lower court could have ruled in favor of the ATF, and then the gun owner appealed it to the Fifth Circuit.
Oh, so the other side would have
just
had to appeal.
The other side has the option to appeal. Correct.
Oh.
Right. And so that someone appealed, and it wound up in the Fifth Circuit. The Fifth Circuit ruled in this case, and this is a 3-judge panel, so they ruled 2-1, saying, hey, no. We need to send that back down to the lower court, and the brace should be legal. The ATF does not have the authority to ban the brace. So we'll see if the Supreme Court takes up that case, but we're waiting for other cases to get there first.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Waiting for another special case to get there, too.
We're waiting, yes.
September
20th. I can't wait to September 26th, let me tell you.
Is that when they decide?
On Pins and Needles. That's when they're going to have a conference. I'm not sure we're going to hear back after that. I don't think it happens right away. I think it takes a little time for us to hear back after they have a conference.
That's when the Supreme Court will know, though, even if they don't tell everybody on that day?
They'll sit down, they'll meet and discuss it on that day. But I don't think we're going to hear about it on that day.
So they'll know, but we probably won't.
We won't know, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Somebody will know, but we won't know.
No.
And I did want to talk about the homeless and the heat in Texas and the deaths in Texas, and the fact that the city of Austin, our city council, city leadership here in Austin, just so I don't know if you know this or not, Austin is the blue dot in the sea of red. We're the
blue star in the red state.
Yeah, that Democrat-controlled, area of Texas, where they've changed the homeless policy by letting the homeless sit and lie. The public got upset by this because it brought a lot more homeless to the area than we already had. People were sitting there homeless from California, New York, other parts of Texas, giving them bus tickets and sending them over here to Austin, Texas. We wind up having so many homeless and such a big problem that the citizens actually got it on the ballot to rescind and actually put the homeless ban back into effect. So they put the ban back into effect, and the city still is not enforcing it like they're supposed to. So we have this problem now where, hey, guess what? It's 2023, and we're in a, over 30 days, almost, it's going to be 30 days and over 100, 3-digit?
Yeah, I don't know what the streak is, but this is the hottest stretch of days on record ever.
Right.
Yeah, I think today's 30 days.
And so people are dropping like flies. They're dying in the street, literally, from the heat. And they encourage, to let the homeless sit and where they want to sit and lie or whatever. And now the heat's taking them out one by one. So literally they lured these people here to Austin, Texas, and they're responsible for dozens of people dying in the heat in Austin. And we have the resources. Like, there's an old Home Depot that the city actually owns,
which they're now selling.
They own this, and they can use this as a cooling station.
And they've owned it for about 10 years, right?
They've
Maybe
owned it
even
for
longer.
a very long time. Not abandoned, not used whatsoever. The best of my knowledge, they used the parking lot for COVID testing, but that's it. The building itself has been sitting there. Old Home Depot, huge building. They could have used this as a cooling station, so these people didn't have to die in the streets of Austin that they actually lured here. So, shame on the city council in Austin, Texas. Shame.
Hey, you say that Austin is that
Blue dot
in the sea of red.
Yes.
Dallas is Democrat.
Yes.
Houston is Democrat. San Antonio's Democrat. El Paso's Democrat.
That's
too.
why. That's why.
I
That's why I corrected him and said the blue star in the red state, because it's the blue capital of the red state.
But that's surprising. I wouldn't think that Dallas.
Yeah, it is.
The Dallas
But it
Morning
is.
News.
It is.
The Dallas Morning News is a good example of a news outlet that was conservative for a long time, and then they sort of recently flipped as well. And I think
Right.
that has to do with the demographics of the voters changing.
Right.
It's all cities, pretty
Houston's
much.
kind of like that too. They've kind of.
It's urban versus rural, really.
As the population density increases, places become Democrat.
Because the issues change, the issues that regular people face change. But yeah, we can talk more about this when we have Jamie Hammonds come back on with Dash. He's gonna know, he'll know numbers and more specifics. I don't know how many people have died so far, but there's been a handful, and obviously the city. When you say they lured people here, what you're inferring is that when they overturned the camping ordinance, people from all over Texas that were homeless started coming here because they thought, okay, well, I can do whatever I want in Austin. And then once they got here, there's no resources to handle all the additional homeless people. And the only thing that really was built is the Arch, which is again another complete failure, waste of money.
And you have animals that are dying. We have a squirrel that has been here for years in the parking lot, and we joke about it because it's a male squirrel. It's got some really big nuts, and so we joke about the fact that
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Jack about it.
Our
We
buddy,
jack what?
Our buddy, the squirrel with the big nuts. It's like, man, we actually, name him Tom there. And so he's been in the parking lot for a very long time. And all of a sudden, one day, this this squirrel just croaks. He dies from the heat. Totally gone.
Why'd you name him Tom?
We just named him Tom.
Testicle
Is there-
Tom.
Yeah, I was thinking of
Is
it.
there something in that? Just name him Tom.
But this homeless issue. I remember seeing this street interview. Maybe you saw it, Gary, but it was somebody that came across basically a homeless strategist in one of those big cities in California, either LA or San Diego. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm a homeless strategist. How much do you make a year? I make $500,000 a year.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I saw that, but I've seen similar stuff.
Yeah, there's money in homelessness.
Absolutely.
Big money.
Any problem that can be exacerbated by the government will always have money in it, and there'll always be interest in prolonging those issues and perpetuating them. And honestly, if the government, or really not the structures of the government, but the people in the government that are operating the structures, if they can find a way to turn an issue into a cyclical problem, like the welfare state, I would say is a good example, something that was created to be a temporary fix during the Great Depression, and then it becomes a cycle, and then you it's self-perpetuating. If they can create something like that, some of those people will, because they do profit off of it.
Yeah, and then it becomes a salaried job,
Right.
That
Right.
has potential for some really, really good revenue there.
Michael, do we have anything else we want to talk about on the heat deaths? I think we should revisit that when Jamie Hammonds comes, because he really is the foremost expert, hands-on expert in that field in Austin.
Yeah, because I'm curious what the numbers are, because it's got to be in the dozens, and it probably won't. We probably won't find out the actual numbers until next year, because there have been so many homicides in this town lately that they're not being reported or talked on the news, or APD is not tweeting it. The Austin EMS fire department, they're not tweeting it like they normally tweet certain things. I think they're overwhelmed by how many of them there are. So I think we're gonna in 2024 we'll find out actually how many homicides, and I think we're gonna be shocked about the amount of homicides that have actually have taken place in Austin for 2023.
Is this accurate, Zach?
AustinTexas.gov.
What is it?
We'll read the. Yeah, is it this
What's it
year?
They're saying today at least 13 heat-related deaths have been reported in Texas this year, but as of today, no heat-related deaths have been reported in Austin this summer.
Really?
June 2023,
they die-
heat-related illnesses doubled from June last year. So people are, getting sick from it.
So the people that
when was that
the people
updated,
that are
though?
croaking
Hold on.
under the overpasses.
When was that updated, though? That's what I was asking you.
This gets June for sure. Release date July 14th. So
it
3
might
weeks
not be
ago?
completely up to date. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So whatever happened in the last 3 weeks is
That's
included.
why I kind of would like to just push this off before we speculate, because I think Jamie would know more about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But that's just
Regardless,
the
there's a
city's
bunch of people
publication.
getting sick from the heat.
Mm-hmm. Twice as many as last year in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been hot as shit.
Yeah, it really has. I mean,
We broke a record.
Yeah, I mean,
At
the whole
29 days.
hottest
I know
year
that was a
on record
too.
for Earth, I think. The entire Earth.
There was a news story that was out there in the Statesman that talked about the fact that in the smaller counties that surround Austin, like Buda, and the places like that, Bastrop, that their 911 or the EMS responding to the same amount of heat-related incidents they did in the previous year. But in Austin, the numbers are greatly high. I think that's going to be because of the homeless, and also because of the fact that we have people that are here from like out of state
That aren't used to the heat.
They're not used to the
Right,
heat.
for
That's
sure.
right.
And you got to drink a lot of water and yada, yada, yada. Not to mention, Austin is a city that's fueled by alcohol, which, doesn't help with hydration.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? So,
And I don't think it's the funny thing is we went through this a little bit in 2011. I think it was 2011.
I didn't live here at that time.
Yeah, I think it was
Is
2011.
that the
where
drought? and
Yeah,
all the
where it was
heat?
hot and we had like 30 days or so. I forget X amount of days. It was like, it was in 3 digits or whatever, over 100 degrees.
Yeah, that one killed a bunch of the really old trees here, I think.
Did it really?
Just wiped out a lot of these established trees because it was so hot and so dry.
But it's funny. Regardless, though, we still go to the gun range and go shoot. Regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm there, Michael.
So like
I know.
Yeah, I remember one time I was there when it was really hot, and I was sitting in the range vehicle with the AC on, and somebody yelled at little old me.
Oh my goodness.
You're the reason there's global warming.
Yeah, it's my fault, dude.
So yeah, we still had like yesterday, we had like 20 students in class, and yeah, we still did the range, and we were there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, hottest part of the day.
Yeah, I'm only there 1 day a week, but you're there 4 or 5 days a week?
Twice.
Twice.
Two or three times, yeah. So we still do it. Because I tell people it doesn't matter if it's rain, sleet, or snow. It's raining, whatever. You still may have to defend yourself in that situation. So just because it's hot right now and we're hitting record temperatures, you could be outside walking to your vehicle and have to defend yourself. Mm-hmm. You can't say, "Hold on, wait, it's too hot. Time out. Let's go to a cooling station." Unfortunately,
Need
you
some
can't say
ice.
that. I need some ice. Hold on, let me take a break real quick. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So
Yeah, and the
criminals
heat
don't
actually
care.
increases criminal activity.
Yeah.
What?
You know, there is a correlation between ice cream sales and crime.
Really?
Yeah.
You're full of shit.
More ice cream means more crime.
More guns equals less crime.
No, just when it's hot, they sell more ice cream, and when it's hot, there's more crime.
What's
More
why
crime
is,
in the summer.
Why is more heat causing people to commit more crime?
Just because compared to winter, you know, people are out more. When it's hot, people are just agitated more too, especially when it's this hot.
Yeah, I could. That kind of makes sense. I'm tracking with that.
Yeah, hell is hot.
It's hot as hell.
It's hot as hell.
All right, so let's go to New York City. So over in New York, apparently an influencer caused a riot.
Yeah, I was watching this the other day on NBC, and the way they were.
So they had
covering
it. They actually had it live on TV.
Yeah,
Really? Oh wow, I missed all that.
yeah, it was a big deal.
What was he doing?
They were doing a giveaway. It was a social media influencer. He said he was going to give away PlayStations, and people fucking lost their mind. He sent me a video, and it's this girl like on a telephone pole just twerking, shaking her ass.
Yeah, on a street light.
And somebody hands her a football, and somebody puts the football in her ass cheeks.
Oh jeez.
And she's just
She
clamping
holds
them
it
in
there
there.
and twerks.
Yeah, dude.
And there's like 40 guys around her. They're smacking her ass. They're just cheering her on. You know.
And so why? And so this is the influencer's fault.
They've been charged with inciting a riot, I believe.
What is that? Like, is it a misdemeanor? Is it a felony? What is it?
Inciting a riot? Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a serious crime, right? Isn't that a felony? Isn't that what Trump's being charged with? Inciting a riot? Inciting the insurrection
This guy
at
has
the Capitol?
6.5 million followers.
Yeah. You got to be a little more responsible if you have that many people following you. I mean, I guess it is kind of if you abide by the decree that Trump did incite that insurrection or whatever we want to call the January 6th thing, then it is sort of similar in the capacity that you got to be responsible and your messaging to people. I don't think Trump really did shit wrong personally, but my point is that
This guy did a PlayStation 5 giveaway.
yeah, I don't think this guy really did anything wrong either. I mean, are we?
I think
missing
they're upset because he didn't request a permit, request police presence, or anything like that beforehand. So they're upset by that. I think
You have to request a police presence for a
and get a
PS5
permit,
giveaway
and
nowadays?
get a permit and stuff like that. Because the amount of people that showed up.
I mean, he's got 6.5 million followers.
What are the demographics of his followers, Gary?
What do you mean? Are they young
Young people.
Like in the video you saw.
Now they're all young.
guys?
So 65 people were arrested, including 30 juveniles, and several police officers and civilians were injured in this melee in Union Square.
Yeah. It was a Twitch star, by the way. I don't know if I said Instagram or social media or whatever, but it was Twitch, which means if he's giving away a PS5, I kind of assume that he's
only 21 years
he's a
old.
gamer. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's I don't know all the details of this. I just was watching the news and watching the chaos and the aftermath of it unfold. And the thing that was interesting to me, and Mike, you'll think this is interesting. I mean, we all know that you think we should just tase people and throw their bodies onto the highway. But personally, I think this is an interesting situation. The riot police, since this guy's 21, and there were families and kids, they couldn't use standard measures to go after the rioters because there were like 7-year-olds in the crowd, so they couldn't shoot. Right?
So you couldn't tase them.
Hey man, no, I'm just call back to the last episode when you said that white dude deserved to get run over.
That's not what I said.
you said he deserved. What did you say? He said
That's not what I said.
Well, we're not going to rehash it. I'm just saying it's interesting because this is definitely not a standard situation for riot police to handle. And I mean, from what I understand, I don't think any like kids died or anything. You remember in Austin when the BLM riots were happening and the police shot that kid? I just remembered seeing the video. This kid was just standing in the grass, like way off,
on the grassy knoll.
Just shot him in the eye with a rubber bullet, and he went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, they broke his face, dude.
For literally for no reason. I mean, there was no reason for this kid to get to that kid at least. I mean, some of the people that were down there going crazy and burning shit, they deserve to get shot rubber bullets, but not that kid.
Yeah.
You know, and those rubber bullets ain't no joke, dude.
No.
It goes back to, what we talk about is, you're going to be an influencer at 21 years old. It's important you get an attorney and get some counsel and figure out what's the best way to do, to do certain things. Is this a thing that I should do? Is it okay for me to do a giveaway, invite,
Right.
1 million people, in the middle of a city, a major city in the country, and do a giveaway, and how we're going to do this without it causing havoc. And I can see a 21-year-old not thinking that through at all. That's why it's important that you get an attorney, when you're going to do things like that. You should always consult an attorney for a lot.
Well, that's what 21-year-old influencers are concerned with. Attorneys, you know what I
They
mean?
should be.
I mean, when I was 21...
So now look at him. Look, he's
Well, he's already been released. I don't think he's going to be in too much trouble. Nobody really died or anything. And the reality is that maybe he had an irresponsible gathering, but I don't think the guy really did it. Unless I'm missing something here where he was calling for people to
At a trial.
Let's see. What do you got?
Little video of the scene there.
Is this what story? This is from 9 News here. Let's put the audio on this. I'm going to put this up to the mic.
Okay, so
Michael.
this is a Class A misdemeanor in New York. So a person is guilty of inciting a riot when he urges 10 or more persons to engage in a tumultuous and violent conduct of a kind likely to create public alarm. Inciting a riot is a Class A misdemeanor.
So that'll make you lose your gun rights.
Yeah, for at least 5 years in Texas.
All right, I'm going to play this real quick. Hold on.
In the US now, you were looking at pictures from New York City where a giveaway by an influential gaming streamer has resulted in a riot and a trail of destruction. 9 US correspondent Jonathan Kersley joins us with more. Jono, these are quite terrifying scenes.
Sophie, quite simply, it has been mayhem in Manhattan, all over a PlayStation 5 giveaway by a gaming influencer who has 6.5 million followers on the streaming platform Twitch. Kai Cenat had announced to his followers that at 4 o'clock New York time, so a couple of hours ago, he would be at Union Square, in the area around Union Square, which is south of the Empire State Building, handing out what he said was an unlimited number of PlayStation 5s. At 1:30 in the afternoon local time, police say they got word of this event and found themselves very quickly outnumbered. Thousands of Kai Cenat supporters, followers, fans, viewers had turned up in the hope of getting a free gaming console. What happened was it descended into utter chaos. Some of his supporters jumped onto the roofs of cars, falling dangerously onto the road. Others jumped onto the roofs of buses. At one point, it was thought Kai Cenat himself had actually tried to escape the crowd on board a bus. Instead, it turned out police had used that bus to transport people who they had arrested amid the chaos. Police Chief Jeffrey Madry has just spoken moments ago. He is saying that some of these people had armed themselves with shovels from a nearby construction site, and that fireworks had also been thrown by members of the crowd. This was very clearly a difficult situation for police to bring under control, and it took them around about an hour and a half or so to essentially get this area of New York under control. Now they are looking at those who have been arrested, what they do with them in terms of processing them. As for Kai Cenat himself, well, police say he was removed from the area for his own safety. He was being seen led away by police, but officers have now confirmed that that was for his own safety. But quite simply, as you can see here, this is what happens when a flash mob descends on New York and all over a gaming console, Soph.
Yep, they are crazy scenes. Jono, thank you.
Oh my goodness, God forbid Manhattan, all these people, these teenagers show up, around these people with suits and stuff and just, disrupt our day.
Well,
Wham.
a bunch of people got hurt.
Yeah.
They were like beating the life out of some people, if in the video, which you couldn't see. But what's funny about that is that 9 News Australia, they're like, this is terrifying. Yeah, this is like another day in America, dude. This is every day, baby.
So dramatic. It's just terrifying.
Dude, I was watching a video last night. I meant to send this to you, Michael. While I'm telling you this, do you want to go on Google and look up nighttime in Chicago? This guy recorded a video, like a 4-minute video of Chicago at night, and it's just gunshots the entire time. And when I looked in the comments, there's this lady's like, I'm from the I'm from Montana and in the Midwest, and this is holy crap. This is scary. This is scary stuff. I'd be terrified. And it just cracks me up because imagine if we had that in Texas, you know. That'd be
Just constant gunfire ringing out. It's like at the pace of footsteps. Sprinting footsteps. That's insane.
No, this is
Matched
one
together.
clip. Just straight. I mean, sometimes in Chicago, there's 100 shootings in one weekend, right?
Sounds like a war. Guess that's why they call it Chirac. That's hard to even imagine here.
Well, more
Unless
gun
you're on
laws.
6th Street.
More gun laws equals more crime,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Always.
Yeah, that's one of the strictest gun laws in the country in Chicago.
Yeah, it's also like the most corrupt. Cook County is the most corrupt county in the entire country. Michael, if that happened in Texas, what would happen? Where everybody's got guns.
Well, one, you're talking about aggravated assault or deadly conduct. You can be charged with that. Discharging a firearm in city limits. You're not allowed to discharge a firearm in city limits. So, a lot of police departments are starting to use this thing called Shot Spotter, where they can detect, where gunshots are coming from, and they use that to, locate where the sounds are coming from, and it pinpoints it pretty accurately, in a certain area, certain street, or whatever, and officers can respond pretty quickly and get on scene to recover shell casings. And they're using these shell casings because once they recover a gun that's been used in a crime, they can actually match that gun to those shell casings and say, hey, not only did you do this crime here with this gun also was used, we recover shell casings from another incident with the same particular
Do they
firearm.
do that by looking at microstamping?
I believe so.
What is that?
Microstamping is where on the firing pin of the gun, the part of the gun when you pull the trigger that hits the back of the casing and ignites the primer and makes the bullet go off.
And yes,
that
and
has-
yes and no. Yes, they can, and that's not
well,
the only way.
Okay, but
Well,
what
that
can you?
the tip of that is about the size of, I don't know, the tip of a ballpoint pen, and on that is a microstamping, which is this little code, this tiny code you have to see through a microscope that is unique to that firing pin, that it stamps onto the back of that casing when it hits it.
They're not going to go through all that
Yeah, they do.
effort to
And also they can use
that many shots.
They actually use they do. If you listen to like in Austin, whenever you look at some of the Twitter postings and they say police officer on the scene, they're recovering shell casings. They're recovering the shell casings for that reason, because they're checking, they're actually
I'm
testing those
talking
shell
about
casings.
where there's 400 gunshots in 10 minutes. They're not going to go do that.
I don't know what they do in Chicago, but they do here in Austin. Every time there's a report of that,
Well,
they do.
what I was trying to differentiate between the two. What I'm saying is,
Most
could you
likely-
imagine if there was that many shootings in somewhere like Texas, it wouldn't end that way. Those gunshots like that, that's not law-abiding people.
Of course not.
My point is that those gun laws don't work, and there's all those shootings going on. And in Texas, if somebody started shooting like that, so many people are armed here that people who are law-abiding would shoot back, and that would never happen, because an armed society is a polite society. That was my point.
It does happen here in Austin. If you listen to like Next Door, or the
Well, I
ri-
used to
the
live
ring-
over on the
ring-
east side. I would hear gunshots all the time, but it wasn't like that.
Right,
That literally sounds like
4th of
fucking
July.
Syria. You know what I mean?
It sounds like
or
the
Iraq.
like the 4th of July, but the gunshots.
Yeah, New Year's Eve, 4th of July.
Right. Check out you sent me this story for Orlando. Suspect in Orlando police shooting dies in a hotel gunfight with officers. What is that about?
You got it pulled up?
Yeah. So a gunfight at a Florida hotel between police and a hold-up suspect ended in the man's death Saturday morning, just hours after he had allegedly shot 2 officers in an earlier encounter that left them in a critical condition. So this violence, it actually began like around 11 p.m. on Friday when 2 officers were investigating a vehicle wanted in connection with a Miami homicide. During a stop, the suspect shot at them, shot someone, stole another car, and fled with police in pursuit. After an extensive search, officers were able to find the suspect at a Holiday Inn, and the SWAT team responded to the hotel at around 6 a.m. and was able to safely evacuate the hotel. Suspects barricaded himself.
And Mike, make sure you're talking directly into that
The
microphone.
suspect barricaded himself into the room, according to the authorities, and police made several attempts to get him to surrender, but the suspect refused. Around 8:58, the suspect shot at SWAT officers multiple times, and SWAT officers returned fire, striking the suspect. Suspect is now deceased.
So I thought this was interesting because in the story, they mentioned that he has an extensive criminal record, right? So it kind of reminds me of the Daniel Penny situation on the subway in New York, where the guy that Daniel Penny put in the chokehold and killed, and really what he should have done in that situation was tase him, throw him on the subway lines. But in that guy that died up on the subway, that guy also had an extensive
Like 40-something
40 arrests,
felonies
40
and
plus arrests.
misdemeanors.
And
But you don't know that when you're in confrontation with someone. You
that's
don't
not
know
my point. My point is that this is another situation where this person shouldn't even be out on the street if you have that extensive of a criminal record. And that's coming from me, and I'm not that this is a sort of like an ad hominem defense, but like I've been in a lot of trouble in my life too, and at a certain point I realized
Do we lock him up
I'm
forever?
going to get locked up. So I cut this shit.
But some people don't learn not to do that.
And then you
So
go to jail.
When people don't learn not to do that, so
He should have quit that life.
They wind up in situations like this.
Yeah, but this should never have even happened, is what I'm saying. If this guy had that extensive of a record and he's shooting cops and stuff, I mean, well, how do we prevent this from happening? Because, they'll arrest and put away Daniel Perry here in Austin for shooting a dude with a rifle.
And Daniel Penny.
And Daniel Penny. But then this guy's walking around free,
I don't think you can prevent. You're not going to be able to prevent a lot of different things. The system says, hey, you do something, this is what your punishment is going to be. They get that punishment, boom, they're done with it, and they go out and they do something else. They get punished for that, then they go out and do something else. They get punished for that, they go out and do something else. It's just what happens, just like the serial killer that we have here in Austin that they arrested. This guy did something. He served 10, 15 years in prison, got out, did something else, went back again, did 5 years, came out and killed 10 more people, and then he's talking and saying, oh, by the way, I killed this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, also. And
well, how about we start focusing on not arresting people for victimless crimes and drug crimes and stuff like that? We have less harsh laws, and then with people that are violent offenders, we give them harsher penalties.
All right. Let me play devil's advocate then. So those little crimes that you say that are victimless crimes, what if they lead to other things?
That's a good point.
Because that's what police officers will throw back in your face.
Okay.
And they'll say, hey, I stopped this person because their tent in the windows.
Right.
Well, that tent led me to the fact that he had a dead body in his trunk.
Okay, well, that's a reach. That's insane. But I will say
true
this.
story. That's happened.
I will say this. This is my response to that. So if somebody was to say, well, if those crimes lead to other crimes, then let's use the analogy for alcohol. Alcohol leads a lot. It's a gateway drug. It leads a lot of people to doing drugs. We need to go back to prohibition then. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
No.
Exactly. That's my
Are you
whole
crazy?
point. Right. So like what you just said about alcohol is the same thing I would say about somebody playing devil's advocate in that situation. Is that gateway crimes is a fucking insane thing to even say. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Good point, Gary.
It is a good point. I thought about it before I said it.
What a concept.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm sober now, so I actually think, and it's wild, man.
Oh, yeah. Another story in Philadelphia, 3 gun shops are they're taking some heat for all the straw purchases. That
Yeah, I
they sold.
added that in there, too. Did you read that one?
Which one?
I didn't have time to even read
which
it.
one
I
is
just
that?
threw it in there.
Philadelphia, there are 3 gun shops that were responsible for selling 100 guns that were used in crimes to 25 different people over like a span of 4 or 5 years.
So in defense of the gun store,
Yeah.
the person walked into the gun store. They filled out a 4473.
They just said they wanted a gun, right?
They acquired the firearm legally.
Yeah, the only way that a gun store owner can know that a straw purchase is happening is if the person says something or is really
does
nervous or is like sweating or just
they don't-
looks shady. you
They
know?
don't know anything about the firearm, and to the point that they're looking at their cell
You don't even have to know
phone.
anything about it, do you?
You don't, but they could be looking on their cell phone, and it's really hard. It really is hard, Or they come in with someone else. Say 2 people come in, and the one person is checking it out, but then the other person fills out the form.
When it's just obvious that the
Right.
second person.
That's obvious.
Is anybody that dumb that they have 2 people go in?
Yes, that happens.
What?
Oh yeah, that happens.
Really?
Yeah, that happens. It happens.
Wow. Yeah, sometimes
People
I
walk
underestimate
in
stupidity.
here hotboxing, smelling like weed. And it literally says on the form, it talks about marijuana on the form. And it's
Are
like,
you addicted to
Yeah.
or an unlawful user of?
marijuana? It literally says marijuana, and they walk in smelling, hotboxing. Like, dude, you can't walk into the gun store. I've actually had ATF agents in here while someone walked into the gun store smelling like weed. Smelled the whole lobby up with weed. I'm like, dude, I can't even talk to you right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm here talking to this ATF, agent.
Did you
here.
kick him out?
Yeah, it's like I was like, dude, can you pretend for 5 minutes what you're doing is illegal? Help me out here. Meet me
That's
halfway.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It's insane.
So yeah,
Meet
if
me
somebody
halfway.
just gets a gun or 2 transferred
and the ATF is
through a gun shop.
ATF is sitting there looking at me like, okay, how you gonna handle this one, Michael? You know what I'm saying? What am I supposed to do? Like, dude, meet me halfway here. I can't help you at all.
But yeah, if somebody just comes in, has a gun transferred, or wants to buy one through you, or 2 or 3, then if they just come in and say, hey, I'd like this, this, and this, or if they have a transfer and they're like, hey, I'm here to pick up a transfer, they just fill out the forms, they get the gun, right? There's
See,
no
and-
way of you knowing that they're doing a straw purchase unless they're just being a total moron.
Here's
and
what
just-
here's what I didn't know. I didn't know it took me like 10 years to figure this out. That when people come in with cash and buy a Barrett 50 cal and use cash, that they're buying it to take it over across the border to Mexico.
Not always.
Apparently,
I know people that are
just about
guns
every
for
single
cash.
transaction that someone does when they pay cash for a Barrett 50 cal, they end up wind up being in Mexico or trying to cross over into Mexico. And I didn't know that. It took me it was 10 years before I figured that out.
So if somebody's using cash to buy guns, then they're crossing the border. Huh?
Not a gun, but a particular firearm.
Barrett 50 cal.
Barrett 50 cal.
They're going straight to the cartels.
Apparently.
Why do the cartels want 50 cal so
Don't
bad?
know.
Oh,
That's
dude,
no idea.
that's a very effective gun.
Well, I wonder. Yeah, but those are usually used as sniper rifles, correct?
Or anti-personnel vehicles.
Ah,
I mean,
Take out a car's
doing this
engine
job,
with that.
that makes sense.
Being a federal firearms license dealer for almost 13 years, I've learned a lot about, what goes on behind the scenes and just the government, how it works, and the fact that when they walk in to inspect gun stores, a lot of times they're looking for a list of people already that they're checking up on.
To see if you sold them guns?
Maybe those people maybe they've shopped in other stores, multiple stores, and bought things, but they actually have a list that they're actually looking for.
So there's a reason.
Maybe it's through multiple sales. Maybe it's because they've gone to other gun stores and had background checks done. Maybe the same day they bought a gun, a handgun or long gun from this store. They went to another FFL dealer, bought one from that dealer as well. Don't know. I honestly don't know, but I know they're looking for specific people.
Is it suspicious that it was only, you said 3 stores, is that correct?
It's 3 stores.
Is it suspicious that only 3 stores in Philly are responsible for all those guns?
I don't think that's suspicious. I think that's probably I bet you they're all within the same area.
Yeah, it's probably that the people who were
area.
buying them for the straw purchases just lived close to them.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
And they bought the first one. They're like, oh, okay,
it
I
worked.
can get this gun here.
Okay.
And so the city is actually suing the firearm dealers.
Well, how is that?
And they say they're accusing them of knowingly allowing these illegal sales, in the store.
Okay, do you believe that?
If they know this, then they should get their license revoked.
If they knew.
I know.
So if you're transferring a firearm illegally to someone, that is justification for revocation.
But what are the odds that those shops actually knew that?
I don't think they knew that. But the city is suing them because of that.
Because that would seem like it's some sort of... That's why I asked if it was suspicious, because it is kind of strange. Like, on its face, to me, an outsider, it seems bizarre that only 3 shops would have that many illegal straw transfers.
2 of them are in northeast Philly, and then one is in Bucks County. I'm not sure how close that is to northeast Philly. But I'm willing to bet that they're not really that far from each other.
So, Michael, as a gun store owner yourself, if somebody came in and over the course of, like this case, 4 years, had bought 30 guns from you, and it turned out that they were straw purchases, but you had no idea, honestly, then who is liable?
I would not have known.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have known. So can they still get you?
You have so many different customers that you're dealing with. There's no way, to know.
You would have had to have known, and they would have to prove that you knew, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at paperwork. I'm checking paperwork to check mistakes. I'm not looking at names and memorizing people's names. We do 13,000 transactions. No way I'm going to. I don't remember a person that came in 2 days in a row.
Yeah, isn't it up to the
system
Knicks?
The system will tell me if you bought a handgun, on Saturday, you turn around on Sunday, you buy another handgun. So I had a customer come in and get 2 handguns on Saturday, came in on Sunday, got 2 handguns on Sunday. I didn't know that. I even did the paperwork and looked at the paperwork and reviewed the paperwork. But I had no idea. So
but isn't that up to the Knicks, though? Isn't the Knicks?
I see where he's going with
the
this.
The system tells me. So
the Mike,
database. Hold on. The database that we use tells us that this person's done a multiple sale, and so it kicks out a multiple sale form that I have to turn into the FBI, the Knicks, and send into the Travis County Sheriff's Department here in Austin.
Right, but that begs the question: is
where does the buck stop?
Isn't the Knicks responsible and not the gun store?
No, they put onus on the gun store, not the Knicks.
That's bullshit, though.
Wait, why? Yeah, but why?
It's on us.
Why?
And if we do, it's in their rules and regulations. If we do not do a multiple sale report within 24 hours, then we
you have to do that. But the straw purchases.
But why is the onus on the gun store owner? Why'd they make the rules that way? That seems like they're just creating rules that are in favor of themselves.
There's never any rules of punishment for law enforcement. There's always rules and punishments for everyone else.
Why?
It was going to be on the gun store. It's never going to be on the fact that, or DPS, or it's not going to be on the ATF
or the IRS or whatever.
It's not going to be on them.
But why? Like, what's the real?
Because we allow that to happen as civilians.
Okay. That's what I was pulling the thread for. It's bullshit, but we allowed that to happen, and now we're stuck in this fucking system where it's kind of a. This goes back to mom and pop, the fucking ATF trying to close down mom and pop gun shops. If you ask me, it sounds like the ATF and the IRS and these fucking governments, like in Philly, they're all working in conjunction to just keep knocking down gun stores.
And
one after the other.
It doesn't matter how busy you are. Like the ATF, when in 2020, look at this. In 2020, when everything shut down, when COVID happened, the ATF extended the 3-day delay. I don't know if people remember that or not. It was almost like some people were delayed for 30 days instead of 3 business days. Mm-hmm. They delayed. You remember they delayed transactions because they said that they were too busy and too backed up. So that works for them. They were too busy and too backed up, and no one called them on that. No one, because everything was shut down. There was no resources to actually file a lawsuit against the ATF. Why are you delaying transactions for 30 days when the law clearly says 3 business days, not including weekends or holidays? So they didn't do that, and no one actually, called them on it or filed an injunction or did anything about it. We just dealt with it. It got to the point where some transactions were delayed for like 45 days. They can do that when they're busy, but if we make that mistake as an FFL dealer, if I don't do something within 24 hours, they're looking at revoking my license within 24 hours. If I don't respond to a trace request, so let's say a gun was stolen and used in a crime, they contact me, they'll send me an email. It could be on a Friday night, it could be Saturday night. They'll send me an email, and this could be all. When I say night, I'm talking it could be 11 o'clock at night. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. I get an email requesting, the 4473 for a particular firearm. If I don't respond to that within 24 hours, they're coming after me to revoke my license. But the ATF can take over 30 days when they're supposed to take 3 business days to respond to a background check, because they were too busy.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Exactly.
So they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, and it seems like they're just putting so much red tape around everything and so many regulations that they're just, again, back to the mom and pop gun shop thing.
Right.
They really are just trying to make it fucking impossible for anybody to fucking operate.
It is. It really is. And, my hat's off to people because we're, especially going through like 2020 when people were panicking and trying to get guns and stuff like that. And now they're walking in and inspecting these people. And I'm telling you got to go back and check your records and check your paperwork and all that stuff to make sure all that stuff is right. You dotted your I's, you crossed your T's. Because if you don't, they got you. It's sad. It really is sad. I'm glad we switched to a digital system to where we stopped having people fill out the paper 4473, with the ink pen and went to the computers because the computers caught a lot of mistakes. And I'm glad about that.
That makes it so you can keep operating.
Yeah. Because if I hadn't done that, man, I would have had to come in. ATF walks in to inspect me. I would have to come in that night and start flipping through all my 4473s that night. Spend the entire night checking mistakes.
That's a fucking
before
nightmare,
the next morning.
dude. That's just a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, doing paperwork, I fucking hate that shit. But having to flip through stuff you've already filled out. Mm-hmm. And double check
it's hard.
Yeah,
it's tedious and hard. Yeah,
it's monotonous, and it's also, again, I personally, as you've said a dozen times, I think they're just doing it to fuck with you. And you didn't put it in that language, but they're doing it to just really, really put pressure on and squeeze the small business owners, right, and gun stores. Do they do stuff like this to like Dick's Sporting Goods or Academy or anything?
Yes, but they don't do as many transactions as the other stores do.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Academy, there's an electronic system, but they don't do as many transactions. Like according to the ATF, I do more transactions in Academy, and most of the gun stores actually.
What do the people at the ATF think they're accomplishing? Do they think they're doing something good? Do they actually believe that they're doing the right thing? They work for a bureau that killed a bunch of people. Like, they're murderers.
Well, according to President Biden, he's going after rogue gun dealers.
With a rogue agency within the government. That's hilarious. You're fighting fire with fire. I mean, come on, dude. This whole thing is just so fucked up.
You mentioned Waco there.
Yeah.
The last guy they tried to appoint as the head of the ATF was one of the guys that was at Waco.
And took a picture with the burning rubble.
Yep.
I mean, what is going on? These guys are
top of it.
killers. And they're
Those women and children.
Dude, sometimes I forget that we really are, we really are standing up against these guys, and they are killers. Think about that. It's kind of crazy, dude. Mm-hmm. Crazy world out there, Mike.
Yeah. So what they're trying to do is like in this Philadelphia story.
Love it.
In this Philadelphia story, they're saying, hey, there's signs that gun store owners can actually look for when it comes to people that are making straw purchases. And they say things like customers who make bulk purchases, who buy the same firearm repeatedly, or who come in with another person who shops for the firearm but doesn't fill out the form. So things like that is what they're
Yeah,
saying.
if they came in every week and bought like a Glock 43, then that would be kind of
Glock
weird.
19, just
Yeah.
over and over and
Glock
over and
19
over.
every Monday.
Every Monday.
And, see, and what they don't tell you is that when things like that happen, we are, we may do the sale, but we are, we do have the option of notifying the ATF, say, hey, I think this person may be doing something that's not right. Do you know that we actually had a gun show up here that had laced candy. The candy was laced with drugs.
What?
A gun?
A gun?
Candy?
We had a gun that was shipped here years ago. A gun was shipped to us, and in the case,
There's candy in the case?
box, in the box where the gun was located, there was a bag of candy, and the candy apparently was laced with drugs.
How did you find that out?
Because when we find food, it was odd to find food with a firearm. And so we contacted the ATF. ATF came over and tested the candy.
Dude, imagine that. So you're such a good guy that even with the ATF essentially harassing you, showing up here and treating it as if there's a deposition, right? You're still doing your due diligence and letting them know when there's something bad happening.
We have to, because I don't know if that's a trick from them. I don't know if they're trying to do that,
I'm just saying, at the end of the day, you're Michael. You really are like fighting against a deck that is totally, the odds are completely stacked against you in every way. So the fact that that Fifth Circuit win it truly is like an anomaly.
That's why when you're, owners have to micromanage everything. You have to check everything, listen to all conversations. That's why, everything's like recorded, listen to conversations, going back and looking at video and watching people and stuff like that. And someone, one of my clerks say, hey, something happened that was kind of odd. And then I have to go back and okay, let me check it out. What happened that was actually odd about it? You have to micromanage everything, because in the end, it comes back to me, the dealer.
Right.
Because I'm the responsible person. I'm the person that's going to go to jail.
But you know what? On the flip side of that, if the police do something that ends up hurting somebody, they have what's called qualified immunity.
You're right.
I mean, it's so hypocritical, dude. It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah. So, I don't know. Hats off to you, man. Every once in a while, I remember how intensely scrutinized you really are.
Looking at you with the fine-tooth comb, Mike.
Yeah, seriously. Do we want to cover that last story?
Let's see. Well, the last one we have is the last one.
That was it?
Yeah, that was the last one.
I thought we had
That was talking about Pennsylvania. According to Everytown, a group that advocates for stronger firearms regulations, they're saying that firearm vendors in Kansas City led to those businesses implementing policies to prevent straw purchasing, such as employee training, video recording of all sales, and limit one handgun purchase per person per month, according to someone there in their litigation department. I'm not going to limit the sale of one gun to a person per month. I would never do that. People should have the right to do whatever they want. They want to have multiple. Their customers. I have customers that buy the same type of firearm because the firearm's been discontinued, and they want those, and it's to them it's like an investment or whatever. So there's so many different reasons why a person would want multiple of one particular firearm, and that's not and I have repeat customers, and they all have their stuff. It's not like they're selling these guns. They buy guns and sell them, buy them and sell them, and buy them and sell them. They're not doing that. Majority of my customers are keeping these guns because they're collectors, and they want to collect. Just like ladies love collecting shoes. I bet you Shannon Watts or whatever, whoever it is from Everytown, I bet you love shoes and maybe love different types of high heel shoes or whatever. Should we limit the sale of you can only have one red shoe in your closet, one red high heel. That doesn't make any sense at all. You're a collector. That's something that you want. Hey, that's what they want. What do you think?
Yeah, shouldn't limit their high heel purchases. For sure.
Yeah, dude.
Or like strap-ons. Should be able to buy as many strap-ons as they want,
Cocks and
especially
Glocks.
guns.
As always, more guns equals less crime. You go out there and you buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill. Hey, it's really important that you Help us right now. We're in a fight for our life. So please share, subscribe, like, come and talk it.